Hi everyone, this is a tutorial to show you how to secure the final stitch of your bind off and to finish it off in a way that looks really neat. I've just finished binding off the Chapel House cowl. I've got my final stitch here and I'm going to show you what I do with that final stitch as a way of securing it, but also giving a really neat finish to this bind off edge. As you can see at the moment, it's not very neat looking. But I think doing this, it's a really easy thing to do, and it kind of gives your knits a bit more of a professional finish to them, which I quite like personally. Okay, so I've got my final stitch here and I've cut my yarn and it's now threaded onto a tapestry needle. Okay, so what I like to do is essentially create an extra duplicate stitch attaching this stitch to the first stitch of the bind off. Okay, so I start by identifying where that first stitch is, and I'm going to come up through the start of where that stitch is. Okay, so I'm coming from on the wrong side, from the underneath up through the start of that first bind off stitch, and then I'm also going to take that same yarn through the middle of my final bind off stitch, and then I can pull that until I'm happy with the size, until I'm happy with the size of that final stitch. Keep pulling it in. Okay, so already that looks a lot better. And then what I like to do, just to finish off with this end of yarn, is to create a duplicate stitch over the top of that first bind off stitch. So to do that, all you do is basically follow where that stitch has gone, and it goes around here underneath the leg of the next bind off stitch, both legs. So follow it round and then go underneath these two legs with your needle, pull that through, and then back down through the middle of that final bind off stitch, like so. And then when you pull that snug, you can see it leaves you with that really neat finish. And what it also helps to do is to largely hide that jog in the round of where the start of your bind off and the end of your bind off were. Then on the wrong side, you can just weave in that end of yarn to secure it. The way I like to do that is using the knit stitches, and I like to just basically wrap my needle around one leg of each knit stitch, going down a column of knit stitches on the wrong side. Like so. Pull that through. And then up the other side of that same knit stitch column, just wrapping your needle around each leg of your knit stitch column. Okay, and then I'll just cut that end of yarn fairly snug to where it pops out of those knit stitches. Okay, that's how I secure the final stitch of a bind off.